The scene unfolds with Hyuk Ryun Woon exchanging greetings with his sister, Hyuk Ryun Wool. As he reflects on his strategy, he recognizes the importance of initiating contact with Hyuk Ryun Wool, the third lady who seeks an alliance with the second young master. When she turns to him, assuming his presence signifies a plea for his life, he swiftly corrects her, revealing his true purpose, to propose an alliance. In response, she bluntly dismisses his intentions, citing his perceived lack of influence and relying solely on his family's wealth from the Rahu clan. Anger flares within her, questioning his approach with disdain, demanding to know if this is how he plans to beg for his life. Unfazed, Hyuk Ryun Woon asserts his position, declaring his intention to negotiate on equal terms and presenting an offer she cannot refuse. However, met with scorn and disdain, Hyuk Ryun Wool brushes aside his proposition, issuing a stern warning to retreat to the East Star Palace if he values his life. Hyuk Ryun Woon proceeded to reveal that the second young master had already chosen to align with the first young master, a revelation that appeared to unsettle Hyuk Ryun Wool. Recognizing her wavering demeanor, Hyuk Ryun Woon proceeded to express his thoughts, cautioning against the idea of forming an alliance with the second young master, who lacked substantial support. He explained that such an alliance might be intended to keep the Baitian clan's first young master in check. However, he swiftly debunked this notion, revealing that the second young master had already allied himself with the first young master. Upon hearing this surprising revelation, Hyuk Ryun Wool was taken aback. She demanded to know the source of this information, to which Hyuk Ryun Woon simply responded that he could not disclose it. In his mind, he grappled with the realization that he couldn't divulge the source of the information. He had penned it himself. However, before he could dwell further on this dilemma, Hyuk Ryun Wool confronted him, astutely questioning if his allegiance to her stemmed from this hidden knowledge. Acknowledging her insight, he affirmed her suspicions. With a resigned sigh, Hyuk Ryun Wool proceeded to assert her stance with unwavering clarity, underscoring the importance of equality in alliances and highlighting the absence of tangible benefits in aligning with Hyuk Ryun Woon. Despite her skepticism, Hyuk Ryun Woon persisted, presenting a hypothetical scenario wherein an alliance with the influential Rahu clan could offer substantial advantages. Inwardly, Hyuk Ryun Wool deliberated on the potential benefits of such a partnership, considering the Rahu clan's significant resources within the divine cult. However, she swiftly redirected her attention to Hyuk Ryun Woon, questioning his ability to lead the Shubyu clan's alliance without recognition from the esteemed Rahu clan. He countered her doubts with a bold declaration, stating that while his current status might seem lacking, it would inevitably change in the future. He revealed his forthcoming journey to the heavenly demonic cave, prompting a surprised reaction from Hyuk Ryun Wool. The heavenly demonic cave stood as an ominous legend, untraversed by any for 3 centuries since its creation, an abyss where all who dared to enter met their demise. The audacity of Hyuk Ryun Woon's decision to venture into its depths left Hyuk Ryun Wool incredulous. She pressed him, questioning if he comprehended the gravity of his chosen path. Undeterred by her skepticism, Hyuk Ryun Woon affirmed his resolve, viewing his journey into the heavenly demonic cave as a testament to his sincerity. With a quiet confidence, he expressed his anticipation of her response, promising to return alive from the depths of the cave. We switch scenes to find Hyuk Ryun Woon sitting, watching his troops train. His mind wanders to the heavenly demonic cave, a training ground established by the cult's founder. It's a tradition to pass through it to prove oneself as a true believer and potential leader of the Sun-Moon divine cult. Frustrated by the challenge ahead, he questions why he created such a tough scenario. With a survival rate of 0, he wonders if he'll make it through. Comparing himself to the second young master, he feels inadequate. But then he stands up, determined to survive. With a simple realization that there's no other choice, he braces himself for what's to come, affirming to himself that he can do it. We find him ascending a flight of steps, steadily approaching the entrance of the cave. As he advances, the guard's gaze follows him intently. With determination etched on his face, he enters the cavern, silently promising himself that he won't die in there. Inside, he walks with measured steps, a torch casting flickering shadows on the rugged walls. As he readies himself for the challenges ahead, he lays out essential items and begins to don a protective suit, preparing for whatever may come. Suddenly, a disturbance catches his attention. A swarm of insects emerges from the darkness, buzzing ominously as they converge upon him. Recognizing this as the first trial of the heavenly demonic cave, the infamous mosquitoes, as the mosquitoes injected their hallucinogenic saliva and their numbers swelled into the hundreds, eventually leading to death by dehydration. Hyuk Ryun Woon contemplated his prior knowledge of this perilous trial. He had learned survival techniques from the master craftsman, preparing him for the ordeal ahead. With a surge of resolve, Hyuk Ryun Woon's voice echoed through the cavern as he shouted, "Bring it on!" As the mosquitoes swarmed towards him, Hyuk Ryun Woon swiftly retrieved an insecticide sprayer, unleashing its contents with a fierce determination. Amidst the spray, he shouted curses at the pests, commanding them to perish and be damned. Once the onslaught subsided, he stood amidst the dispersing cloud of insects, reflecting on the second young master's ability to eradicate them with flame arts. Resigned to his own method, he ignited a flame and began burning the remaining mosquitoes. While acknowledging that his approach lacked the flair of flame arts, he found solace in its effectiveness for him. With the swarm defeated, he realized that, regardless of the method, he had successfully passed the first trial of the heavenly demonic cave. We shift scenes to find Hyuk Ryun Woon, the first young master of the divine cult, in conversation with the second young master, Hyuk Ryun Woon. Hyuk Ryun Woon questions his companion's seemingly relaxed demeanor, suggesting he might be too lax. In response, Hyuk Ryun Woon inquires if he should be concerned about Hyuk Ryun Woon entering the heavenly demonic cave. Confirming this, Hyuk Ryun Woon then asks if Hyuk Ryun Woon plans to enter it the next month. Hyuk Ryun Woon responds, saying, "I guess so." As they discuss Hyuk Ryun Woon's venture into the cave, Hyuk Ryun Woon wonders what could have motivated him. Hyuk Ryun Woon's annoyance was palpable as he remarked dismissively, expressing little concern for Hyuk Ryun Woon's actions and labeling him an idiot who seemed to have a death wish. He went further, deeming it shameful to call such a person a brother and attributing Woon's behavior to his lineage as the offspring of lowly merchants. Hyuk Ryun Woon, visibly provoked by his brother's derogatory remarks, maintained a calm expression as he forcefully slammed his fist onto the table, startling Hyuk Ryun Woon. Realizing his misstep, Hyuk Ryun Woon hastily apologized, attributing his outburst to a slip of the tongue. Hyuk Ryun Woon then reminded him that they were individuals dedicated to the cause of the divine cult, cautioning him against making statements that could be misunderstood by others. Hyuk Ryun Woon then reflected on a past sparring session with Hyuk Ryun Woon, pondering how many people were truly aware of the hidden strength concealed within the seemingly frail appearance of Hyuk Ryun Woon. We return to the cave, where Hyuk Ryun Woon senses an unexplained chill creeping over him. Preparing himself for the second trial, he plugs his ears and dons a beaded necklace called the Blood Poison Pearl, shielding himself from the illusions of the heavenly demonic cave. Blindfolding himself, he trusts his instincts, gripping his sword tightly to guide him through the perilous darkness. In this cavern, every conceivable nightmare manifests, with the ethereal fog intensifying the illusion, blurring the line between reality and imagination. However, Hyuk Ryun Woon's martial arts prowess sweeps away the oppressive atmosphere, dispelling the illusions. Aware of the dire consequences of doubt or succumbing to fear-induced fantasies, Hyuk Ryun Woon declares his determination to persevere until the seas dry up and Mount Baekdu crumbles. Having completed the second trial, Hyuk Ryun Woon reflects on the difference in approach compared to the second young master. He's relieved that the poison pearl proved effective, but a nagging feeling persists that everything has been too straightforward. With the third and final trial ahead, he hopes it will be just as manageable. As he prepares for the next challenge, he uncorks a bottle and is hit with a foul odor, prompting him to pinch his nose. Contemplating how to apply its contents, he retrieved a cloth and began rubbing the contents of the bottle onto himself, despite the foul odor, determined to survive. He thought that mixing it might improve its effectiveness, so he poured something else into the bottle. Placing it on the ground, he hoped for the best. Leaving the bottle behind, he hurriedly retreated and concealed himself behind a nearby rock. Something caught his attention, prompting him to use ghost steps to move silently and the scale armor technique to protect himself. Soon, a growling sound emanated from the cave entrance as a subterranean monster emerged. Hyuk Ryun Woon couldn't believe such creatures actually existed as he watched it approach. He noted that even peak-level martial artists struggle against these creatures. Being blind, the monsters rely solely on their sense of smell. With the ointment applied, sound erased, and body hardened, he believed the monster would mistake him for a rock. Anticipating the creature's curiosity about the bottle's smell, the monster approached the bottle and sniffed at it. The scent seemed to startle the creature, and with a swift motion, it slapped the bottle away. The monster fell to the ground, writhing in discomfort. Hyuk Ryun Woon seized the opportunity and leaped over the writhing monster, swiftly darting into the opening. Racing forward, he reflected on the concoction he had prepared, a mixture of red chili powder and volatile agents. Upon finally entering the chamber, he paused in astonishment, taking in his surroundings. Spotting more monsters closing in on him, Hyuk Ryun Woon swiftly dropped to the ground, instinctively seeking cover from the approaching threat. Hiding behind a rock, Hyuk Ryun Woon prayed for the monsters to just pass by. However, as one of them approached, his nerves heightened. The monster halted and fixed its gaze in his direction, causing him to silently plead for it to leave. Suddenly, the creature growled and lunged towards him. In a panic, Hyuk Ryun Woon screamed and instinctively reached for his insecticide sprayer, dousing the monster with the spray. The monster then slashed at him with ferocity. Dodging the monster's slashing attack, Hyuk Ryun Woon resolved to push forward toward the exit. As the monster gave chase, the other ones joined in, and he realized with dismay that they were tracking his scent, making his earlier application of the ointment pointless. As he desperately tried to outrun them, he screamed in fear. Yet, as he managed to shake off the monsters, he found solace in the realization that his training had prepared him for this moment. However, his relief was short-lived as he turned around to confront another massive monster blocking his path. With a mixture of disbelief and frustration, Hyuk Ryun Woon exclaimed, "This isn't what he had in mind." Hyuk Ryun Woon leaped into the air and slammed his fist into the ground, provoking the monster into a frenzy of slashing attacks. As the creature's claws pierced through the fabric of his robe, Hyuk Ryun Woon seized the opportunity to slip away unnoticed, leaving the torn garment behind as a decoy. Bolting away from the monster, he couldn't help but ponder the twisted mind of the heavenly demon. It seemed plausible that the cave existed to provide these subterranean monsters with a steady supply of prey. However, the monster soon caught wind of his scent and resumed the chase. Hyuk Ryun Woon screamed in terror as he sprinted desperately towards the exit. Just as he approached the edge of a cliff, he skidded to a halt. Recalling how effortlessly the second young master had scaled the cliffs, he realized this descent was far more daunting. With the monster closing in, he screamed in frustration, hurling curses at the heavenly demon, branding him a fucking lunatic for subjecting him to such perilous trials. He felt scared, but then he told himself to be brave. He ran towards a cliff to jump, with a monster chasing him. He managed to jump just before the monster could grab him. Mid-air, Hyuk Ryun Woon's heart soared with the belief that he had made the leap. Gratitude flooded him for mastering the dark wing technique, courtesy of Jang Muriang's recommendation. He resolved to reward his mentor generously upon his return. However, as he neared the cliff's edge, realization dawned on him he wouldn't clear the gap. Panic gripped him as he plummeted downwards, his body crashing violently onto the unforgiving ground below. As the dust settled, a miraculous sight emerged. Hyuk Ryun Woon had survived the fall, battered but alive. As he got up, Hyuk Ryun Woon marveled at his narrow escape, attributing his survival to the resilience of his scale armor technique. Thoughts of how to ascend back to the surface occupied his mind, but as he scanned his surroundings, a curious sight caught his attention. Lights flickering in the ceiling. Puzzled by their presence, he questioned whether he had overlooked this detail in his previous writings. Pushing aside thoughts of the monsters that had pursued him, he resolved to explore further, realizing that anything was preferable to languishing in the depths. Venturing along the path, he noticed the hidden area and entered. He went up some steps, and when he reached the entrance to the tomb, he noticed a door. Approaching it, he saw a hand marked on the door and wondered if he was supposed to put his hand on it. Tentatively, he placed his hand upon it, and to his surprise, the door opened, leaving him astonished by the unexpected revelation. As he entered the room, his eyes fell upon a statue draped in a robe, with a sword and a scroll placed beside it. Intrigued, he approached and noticed an inscription on the stone. The inscription conveyed a message to the heir who would continue the legacy, praising their triumph over the trials of the heavenly demonic cave. It revealed that the cave had been orchestrated by the heavenly demon himself, designed so that the one who emerged victorious would inherit his mantle. Turning his attention to the scroll, he realized it contained the coveted heavenly demonic arts. There was once a person known as the strongest blessed heavenly demon in the history of the divine cult. Unfortunately, to everyone's knowledge, he never passed down his martial arts to his descendants, nor did he leave any records of his heavenly demon divine art within the cult. However, that changes now. This is his heavenly demon divine art. It was hidden here all along. As he looked through the scroll, he was impressed and felt like he hit the jackpot. He said he would have been satisfied with just passing through the cave of the heavenly demon, but who knew that he'd find this prize? Still, he wondered why the handwriting was so terrible, as he could only read a small part of it. He thought that he should take it back to Secretary Jang and ask him about it. He then took up the sword and thought it was special. He drew the sword from its sheath, lifting it into the air with a sense of awe. Returning it to its place, he pondered the potential treasures hidden within this mysterious place. Eagerly, he set off to explore, hoping to uncover miraculous elixirs or rare pills. As he wandered, he plucked fruits from trees and ate them. He then drank from a stream, then started anticipating their effects. Disappointed that it was just regular fruits and plain water, he cursed the heavenly demon for his lack of generosity. Frustrated, he lamented the absence of elixirs, considering them more valuable than the heavenly demon divine art itself. Returning inside, he stumbled upon a bunch of weapons, each gleaming with potential. Among the weapons arrayed before him were 7 blades, 5 swords, 7 spears, and numerous bows. His attention was drawn to a pair of gloves tucked away to the side. Recalling the mention of hornless dragon gloves, he wondered if these were the coveted items. Upon trying them on, he found the gloves to be remarkably supple, resembling ordinary leather gloves but with enhanced flexibility. To his surprise, they fit perfectly, as if they were tailor-made for him. He carefully removed the robe from the statue, marveling at its preservation despite the passage of centuries. As he slipped it on, he remarked on the garment's durability, attributing its longevity to the use of high-quality materials. Leaning against the statue, Hyuk Ryun Woon contemplated the presence of water and food, allowing him the luxury of time to search for the exit. The idea of spending a few days mastering the heavenly demon divine art sparked in his mind. Several weeks later, he emerged from the hidden chamber laden with weapons. He decided it was time to leave. It was fortunate that the blessed heavenly demon had left directions to the exit. Unfortunately, those directions didn't include where the exit would lead him out. Nevertheless, Hyuk Ryun Woon proceeded, confident he would discover his location upon exiting. As he emerged, the brightness outside momentarily blinded him, leaving him to wonder where he had arrived. Nearby, a stick fell and an old man stood in shock as he witnessed Hyuk Ryun Woon emerging from the cave. Hyuk Ryun Woon approached the old man and asked where he was. The old man trembled but eventually spoke. "Lord Successor, the successor of the heavenly demon has descended upon us," he said. Then he bowed in acknowledgement. Pointing to Hyuk Ryun Woon's attire, the old man declared that the heavenly demon robe and sword proved his status as the heavenly demon's successor. He expressed deep honor in meeting him. As Hyuk Ryun Woon heard that, he wondered if the old man was referring to the sword and clothes he possessed. Watching the old man hurry off, he wished the man had offered him some directions before departing. As Sabu Sien and Sang Kwan Hu walked, they pondered what could have happened to Hyuk Ryun Woon, who had been absent for several weeks. Sabu Sien noticed a crowd of people and inquired if there was a celebration that day, but Sang Kwan Hu replied that he didn't know of any. A man nearby then informed them that the heavenly demon successor had appeared. He explained that a few days ago, the flag at the cave of the heavenly demon was raised, the first time since the cave was constructed. Surprised by this news, the two hurried off. Sabu Sien expressed disbelief that Hyuk Ryun Woon could be the heavenly demon's successor. When they arrived, they saw Hyuk Ryun Woon being carried and paraded around while the people celebrated. Hyuk Ryun Woon himself felt a mix of embarrassment and pride at the unexpected reception. We now switch to the East Star Palace, where Hyuk Ryun Woon sighed as he thought about how embarrassed he was earlier. Sabu Sien asked him what all of that was about. Sang Kwan, who remarked that all he did was spend a few weeks in the cave of the heavenly demon, but suddenly he's the heavenly demon's successor. Hyuk Ryun Woon then decided to share everything that happened in the cave with them. After hearing everything, Sang Kwan, who thought it was unbelievable that such a secret was concealed in the cave of the heavenly demon. Sabu Sien was also impressed, as Hyuk Ryun Woon was the first to discover the secrets of the heavenly demonic cave, which was built over 300 years ago. Hyuk Ryun Woon then said that this was not a good thing, as he wanted to lay low and surprise everyone at the end, like the way it happens in dramas. He then wondered what the second young master will do next, and he was scared as he didn't know how he would respond. Hyuk Ryun Woon then started to think about how the plan might go awry, and it's already too late to undo it. Now that things have turned out like this, he decided to try and make the best of it. Hyuk Ryun Woon then told Sang Kwan who to go to the place he tells him and help him collect some stuff, and he shouldn't forget to give silver to the villagers. He then asked Sabu Sien how the training is going. Sabu Sien said that the archer unit's horseback training is over, and after speaking to Secretary Jang, he thinks that some melee training to develop a new dagger art would be a great idea. Hyuk Ryun Woon then thought that if Sabu Sien and Secretary Jang Muriang, an expert in martial arts theories, put their heads together, the best dagger art will be born. He then told Sabu Sien to postpone the melee training for now and focus on the Dark Lion unit's survival training. He then told them that they'll have a meeting in the night and told them to bring Mok Danpyeong to the meeting as well. Sang Kwan, who asked him why, and he said that it's because he has some use for him. We now see the men seated at a table. Mok Danpyeong thought about how he didn't want to see them at all, so why did they call him there? Hyuk Ryun Woon then shouted for some men to bring the stuff in. The men walked in with a huge chest, then placed it down, and Jang Muriang asked Hyuk Ryun Woon what was in there. Hyuk Ryun Woon opened it and told him that they were items he took from the heavenly demonic cave. He added that these items are not ordinary items and told them that if there is anything they want, they can take it, as he plans to dispose of the rest. Jang Muriang's eyes widened as he asked if he really planned to give them such precious items. Hyuk Ryun Woon told him that no matter how precious they are, they can't be compared to their talent. In his mind, he thought about how the items were definitely precious, but since he got them for free, if he shows his generosity, they'll definitely work harder. The three men bowed and thanked him. Sang Kwan, who took up a sword and stared at it with awe, while Sabu Sien obviously chose a bow and seemed pretty happy with it. Jang Muriang was just looking as he didn't know what he should pick. Hyuk Ryun Woon then took out a ring and presented it to him. He told him that it's called the Dark Dragon Ring, which has the same effect as the blood poison pearl. Jang Muriang was surprised and asked how could he give him something so precious. He cried as he received the gift, and Hyuk Ryun Woon, in his mind, thought about how he has to protect his precious tactician from being poisoned. The problem is, he cries too much, and he wondered how in the world did he manage to get the nickname Demonic Tactician in the novel. Mok Danpyeong was standing in a corner, and Hyuk Ryun Woon went over to him and told him that there's nothing for him. He said he'll give him a mission to sell the rest of these heavenly demon artifacts for a premium, as the Mok family is the most knowledgeable about weapons. Mok Danpyeong then asked him what a premium was. Hyuk Ryun Woon put his hand around him and asked why he was speaking so formally all of a sudden, then told him that he just means that they should try to get the most money they can for the items. The next day, we see Hyuk Ryun Woon's sister walking while she thought about how he has now become the descendant of the heavenly demon after passing through the heavenly demonic cave. As she entered a room, she was greeted by Hyuk Ryun Woon. She got angry, calling him a mannerless bastard for coming without sending a message in advance. Hyuk Ryun Woon then took out something and gave it to her. It was the Rahu seal. She asked if he already went there, and he responded saying that of course he would keep his promise, telling her that now it is her turn. In her mind, she admitted that she had her doubts, but it seems that she was the one at a disadvantage. She then asked him how he managed to get acknowledged by the Rahu clan. Hyuk Ryun Woon then thought about how the Rahu clan head didn't even care about the fact that he's the heavenly demon's descendant, and he barely managed to receive his approval by giving him various jewels that were worth as much as the hornless dragon gloves. He told his sister to cease her worry and said that the only thing he wants is to form an alliance with her, not with the Chanyu clan. As she heard these words, she thought of how Hyuk Ryun Woon reminds her of Hyuk Ryun Jin Oriboni. She then told him that she accepts the alliance as promised. Hyuk Ryun Woon told her that he looks forward to her cooperation. We then switch scenes and see Hyuk Ryun Jin sitting at a window. He then thought about how Hyuk Ryun Woon has entered an alliance with Hyuk Ryun Wool, and came to the conclusion that he must be serious about the race. This seemed to unsettle him a bit, and his hand started to release chi. He then lifted it up and said that the head attendant will get mad at him for that. We now switch to a mountain and we see someone standing at the top. The man remarks that it's been a while since he last saw the sunlight. This man is the protagonist of the novel, The Way of a Hero, Tae Moo Kwang. He holds onto his sword and decides to go and check things out, then takes off. We then see him in a forest, wondering where he is. Something catches his attention, and he runs over, hoping to get directions as he's been lost for 2 days. We now see some bandits who seem to have caught some men. Tae Moo Kwang soars through the air and kicks one of them in the face, sending the bandit flying and landing on his back. Tae Moo Kwang apologizes, saying he was only trying to stop himself. The man asks who he is, and Tae Moo Kwang explains he just wants directions. He then asks if they could provide some food as well. One of the men dashes towards him swinging his sword and calling him a crazy bastard, but Tae Moo Kwang easily dodges it and then punches him in the stomach, rendering the man unconscious. Tae Moo Kwang mentions that he's hungry and intends to get some food before he goes. He turns to one of the hostages and says he can't just leave after seeing the bandits. The hostage offers to treat Tae Moo Kwang to a hearty meal if he stops the bandits. Tae Moo Kwang tells him to make sure he keeps his promise about that hearty meal as the group of bandits approaches. The bandits all rushed at him together, intending to kill him. As they approached, Tae Moo Kwang stood confidently in front of them while the hostage squirmed. Tae Moo Kwang then prepared to attack, unsheathing his sword as the bandits came with a swift motion. He unleashed his attack, producing many slashes and defeating all the bandits in one move. The hostage was surprised by this. Tae Moo Kwang then fell to his knees, clutching his stomach. The hostage ran over to check if he was injured, and with tears in his eyes, Tae Moo Kwang told him he was starving. We now see Tae Moo Kwang gobbling down some food, as the hostage observed him. He noted Tae Moo Kwang's ragged clothing and his incredible martial arts, not suitable for his age, which must mean that he's a master who is on his way down from the mountain after mastering his martial arts. The hostage then introduced himself as Gong Sun Sang and asked Tae Moo Kwang about his destination. Tae Moo Kwang told him that he was on his way to the Murim Alliance but got lost. Gong Sun Sang then told him that they were also headed in that direction and asked if he was fine with traveling with them. He suggested that they would also pay for his meals and lodging expenses. Tae Moo Kwang happily agreed. Gong Sun Sang then asked how old Tae Moo Kwang was, and he said he would be turning 30 this year. Gong Sun Sang said he was turning 30 that year as well, and decided to speak more comfortably with Tae Moo Kwang. This was the first meeting between Tae Moo Kwang, the main character of the novel, The Way of a Hero, and Gong Sun Sang, the merchant who will become the leader of the best merchant group, the Maple Forest Merchant Group. We now switch scenes to Hyuk Ryun Woon, sitting on a chair as the Dark Lions unit is officially launched. On this day, he is also acknowledged as the leader of the Dark Lion unit. His sister approaches him and says that the reason he invited her to the inauguration of his private unit is to reveal their alliance to the second young master and asks if he is confident about it. Hyuk Ryun Woon tells her that their alliance will eventually be known anyway, and furthermore, this is a great opportunity to sway those who haven't made up their minds yet. She acknowledges his point but expresses concern about the second young master, stating that he is not an ordinary person. He responds, telling her that he's aware of that as well. His attention is then caught by someone calling out to him. The first son of the Hyuk Ryun family, Hyuk Ryun Jeom, approaches with his entourage. As he approaches, he towers over Hyuk Ryun Woon and his sister. While his sister appears a bit concerned, Hyuk Ryun Jeom just places his hand around Hyuk Ryun Woon and expresses disbelief that the youngest son is the heavenly demon's descendant, asking when did he grow so big. Hyuk Ryun Woon humbly tells him that compared to him, he has a long way to go. Seeing Hyuk Ryun Jeom there, Hyuk Ryun Woon's sister wonders if he is there to keep him in check. As Hyuk Ryun Woon and Hyuk Ryun Jeom were exchanging pleasantries, someone started to slowly approach. The person placed his hand on Hyuk Ryun Woon's shoulder, and a sudden feeling washed over him. Hyuk Ryun Jeom turned, realizing that it was the second young master, Hyuk Ryun Jin Oriboni. Hyuk Ryun Jin then said to Woon that as a member of the divine cult and as his older brother, he sincerely congratulates him, telling him that he's earned his respect. Hyuk Ryun Woon observed Hyuk Ryun Jin, recognizing him as the rival of the novel's protagonist, Tae Moo Kwang. He noted that Jin was on a different level than anyone he had ever seen, and no matter how hard he tried, he could never win against him. Shaking, Woon told Jin that he flattered him and admitted that he still had much to learn, asking Jin to please take care of him in the future. Jin responded by saying that he's the one who should say that and suggested they go inside. Still observing Jin, Woon thought again about how he could never defeat someone like him. As Jin walked away, Woon remarked that if his goal wasn't to stay alive against the protagonist Tae Moo Kwang and return to his world, he would have submitted to the second young master immediately. He then sighed and said that his way home was truly long. We switch to Sangwon who declared the end of the inauguration ceremony of the Dark Lion unit and announced the beginning of the auction for the godly weapons of the heavenly demon, unseen for the last 300 years. He called for everyone's attention, emphasizing the rarity and significance of these weapons. Sangwon who then turned to Hyuk Ryun Woon and asked if the reaction from the crowd wasn't impressive. Hyuk Ryun Woon commented that it was natural for members of the divine cult to desire these weapons, and asked Sangwon who if he didn't like the weapons too. The auction commenced with the heavenly quadrangle halberd of the heavenly demon, and Jang Muriang set the starting bid at 1,000 silver taels. The crowd grew excited, and Hyuk Ryun Woon encouraged them to keep their attention on the heavenly demon to fetch a premium. Bids quickly escalated, with one person shouting 100,000 taels, followed by another offering 102,000 taels. And Jang Muriang and Hyuk Ryun Woon smirked at each other upon hearing the amount they were bidding. Sangwon who then announced that if no one else was willing to bid a higher price, congratulations would go to Elder Lee from the Mahan family. Later in the night, Jang Muriang presented the last item, announcing it as the heavenly demon bracelet that the heavenly demon loved the most. Everyone looked at it in awe. Jang Muriang then started the bid at 500,000. Hearing the cost, everyone was surprised. Hyuk Ryun Woon thought about how that would be about $1 billion in the real world and wondered who would raise their hand. People in the crowd started to question why anyone would purchase just a bracelet, as it wasn't even a weapon. Someone raised their hand and bid 5 million, shocking the entire room. It was revealed that the bidder was Hyuk Ryun Jin. Jang Muriang then announced 5 million from the second young master and asked if there was anyone else. As no one responded, Sangwon who announced that the heavenly demonic bracelet had been sold to the second young master for 5 million. Everyone started to clap, and Hyuk Ryun Woon wondered why. Even though it was a relic of the heavenly demon, why did Hyuk Ryun Jin spend 10 billion won on a regular bracelet like that? Hyuk Ryun Woon then came up and took the bracelet. After putting it on, he felt something, and the bracelet burst into dark energy, forming a sword. The entire crowd was surprised to see the bracelet turn into a sword. Hyuk Ryun Woon reflected on how it was only a bracelet when he wore it. Hyuk Ryun Woon then said that he simply bought the bracelet because he liked it, but to think that this would happen. He then turned it back into a bracelet and told Woon that he didn't think he should take it. Hyuk Ryun Woon bowed and said no. It said that godly items can recognize their owners, and the owner of the heavenly demonic bracelet is none other than the second young master. Hyuk Ryun Woon sighed and said, "If you say so," promising to become someone worthy as the bearer of the heavenly demonic bracelet sword. The crowd then started to shout the second young master's name, labeling him the true descendant of the heavenly demon. While looking at Hyuk Ryun Woon, Hyuk Ryun Woon thought that it was better this way. While the second young master draws the attention, he just needs to prepare his next move. He said that the succession race has just begun. We now switch scenes to a mountain where some men are checking the surroundings. One of them says that there are signs that someone has already left. Another man then exclaims that it's too late. He was ordered to send a notification immediately if he saw someone coming out of their seclusion training. He shouts that they should notify the main group immediately. Back at the table with Sabu Sien, Jang Muriang, and Sangkwan Who mentions that the rumor that the second young master is the true descendant of the heavenly demon has already spread. Jang Muriang apologizes, saying that he should have looked into it more carefully. Hyuk Ryun Woon enters with a huge stack of books, asking for someone to help him as he brought too much at once. Sangkwan Who takes some and asks what all of these are. He then asks Hyuk Ryun Woon if he's okay with what happened yesterday. Hyuk Ryun Woon responds, saying that what happened with the heavenly demonic bracelet sword was a waste. He adds that if he had known, he would have sold it for more. Surprised, Sangkwan Who asks if he really would have sold it if he knew. Hyuk Ryun Woon confirms, adding that perhaps the heavenly demonic bracelet was a weapon that only responds to inner chi at the level of the second young master or higher. He says that even if he had it, he wouldn't have enough inner chi to do anything with it anyway. Seeing their reaction to his words, Hyuk Ryun Woon sighed and expressed uncertainty about how he was going to deal with these main characters given his current circumstances. He realized he had to prepare extra thoroughly as an extra. He mentioned that it would be better if the second young master let his guard down a little bit because of this incident. Then, he noticed a scroll on a table and wondered what it was. Recognizing it as a letter from the Dongbai merchant group, he read it and discovered that the person in the cave was already gone. The main character, Tae Mu Kwang, should come out after 2 years of training in the cave. He noted that there were about 6 months left until the Heavenly Demonic Festival, so it wasn't time for him to come out yet. This seemed way too fast, and he wondered if his actions were affecting the novel. He dropped the scroll and grabbed his hair in fear, wondering if there was no way to change Hyuk Ryun Woon's instant death under the sword of Tae Mu Kwang.